You're dead wrong. The weak of the strong. Got it going on. You're dead wrong. Relax and take notes while I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Throw you in a choke, cookie and smoke. Biggie Smoke for mayor, the rap slayer, the hooker layer.
Community. What is up? It is your boy, the Bearded Wonder, and you are taking notes with the Bearded Wonder. That, of course, was the melodious sounds of the late, great, notorious B.I.G. featuring Eminem with Dead Wrong, courtesy of Bad Boy Records. Of course, I do not own the rights to this music, so please do not copyright us. By all means, we're just trying to bring some entertainment to our very, very tight-knit and close community. This is me, your boy, the Bearded Wonder, coming at you on this day of American infamy. Today is September 11th. 19 years ago, we all know what happened. You all know where you were. I'm not going to bring up any more of that because this is supposed to be lighthearted, and we're going to keep it lighthearted, and we're going to have fun with today's episode. Of course, Taking Notes is brought to you by the Black in Business Podcast, and you can find the Black in Business Podcast on Facebook at Black in Business Podcast in the search bar. Find us on Instagram, Black_in_business on IG, or visit us on the website at www.blackandbusinesspodcast.com. Of course, you can hit us an email to blackandbusinesspodcast@gmail.com as well. So glad to be here. I have a very, very cool topic. I don't know about cool, but at least it'll be fun to at least interact on this because I'm coming to you live right now. Something that maybe was a little different I don't know, 20, 25 years ago at this point. Some of our community was, they were children, infants, babies, 2 and 3 year olds, if you will, when the internet was invented. So I'm going to bring up the evolution of the internet, and I have a very familiar sound that's near and dear to my heart. And hopefully you guys will get a kick out of this too, because a lot of people don't even know what this sounds like. See if I can get it. No. My little sound bite's not working. I tried it, but every sound bite is different. Anyway, it did work, so fuck it. We're going to skip it. I was actually trying to get the sound of what the internet used to sound like. It sounded like nails to a chalkboard or screeching tires when you would be connecting to the internet through your landline phone, which is now, of course, becoming a thing of the past as well, if it's not already a thing of the past. So, yeah, you used to have to use your phone line or a dedicated phone line that you would attach to your computer. Laptops were probably at their infancy at this point. So you had a desktop, and it was huge, and it had a tube in the back. You didn't have a flat panel, a flat screen, if you don't remember. And you had a whole nother tower, or a desktop tower that would either go into your desk or onto your desk, and you would plug your phone line to the back of it. And you would then go into the internet, and it would be the world's most horrid but wonderful sound to a young teen. When it was time to go into chat rooms, when it's time to look up sports figures, and of course, the internet would not be the internet without porn. So there was porn back then too. It's porn now. It's going to be porn forever. So yeah, the internet was definitely a different place back then. It was so many places you could go and be right in the comfort of your own home. And it was a new concept, of course. And I definitely want to talk about that evolution. My children will never know what it's like to listen to that sound or listen for that sound of the internet booting up. We now have wireless fidelity, Wi-Fi for, the short and dirty version of that. So yeah, like it's a funny thing because I would log on and I would instantly go to American Online or AOL. The chat room was like the most popular thing to do. And I was everything from whatever current age I was at that time to a 40 plus year old, or I was a professional athlete of some sort or collegiate level athlete that happened to be in the library at the time. And no one knew. That level of anonymity was at an all-time high. It was definitely a different place. It was definitely a fun place to be too. I mean, if you know, back then getting on the internet it wasn't like anything we have now. Social media has definitely changed how the internet is used, how it's viewed, um, what we see, how often we see it. It was a lot different back then. Um, and the reason why I wanted to have something so lighthearted um, and talk about the evolution of the internet is because now I know what it feels like to a degree. Um, Watching generational change, um, because you know my granddad, you know, he's 91. God bless him, and many more. And he's seen, you know, no TV to, you know, black and white TV to color TV to now, you know, smart TVs. Like he's seen so many generations rather of technology. So for me, watching the internet, you know, it's like the peak of my childhood and the beginning of my or middle of my adolescence. And young adulthood to a degree. It was my experience with the internet. Like it was such a fascinating thing. Still is. I mean, because it's still a lot of things about the internet we don't know. It's a lot like our ocean. Like we know more about space than we do about our ocean. The same thing I feel about the internet. We know more, you know, about space than we do the internet because there's so many different places you can go and there's so many different things that you can do within the internet and the anonymity that you can have on the internet as well. And I apologize if my sound went out. That was my fault. I accidentally hit my keyboard, so I might have went mute for a second. So I apologize. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. Like let's talk about what the internet meant to you back in that time when the internet first started and what it does now, and why you're filtering in and why we have viewers filtering in with comments. um I'm just gonna, you know, kind of fast forward to now from 25 years ago to now. um as we know, in the year of COVID, everything has changed. Social distancing is now a thing, um, and probably will be a thing for a very long time, unfortunately. Um, just like many children across this country, my children are not in the exception. They are not in their physical school, so they're doing, you know, virtual learning. So, community, I'm going to let you into the parenting world of the bearded wonder. In case you don't know, I have beautiful twin girls and I have a son, and they are all school age. And my twins have decided that the internet is a place they don't need to be during school hours. Now, this would be a problem if, like I said in the beginning, where you had to physically have a phone like landline connected to a desktop computer to get internet access, as well as an internet service provider like American Online or Microsoft or whatever you had at the time. I don't even remember what they were. I do remember AOL. That was the big thing. Pardon me, y'all. Let me clear my throat. Jeez. My intro still got me fucked up, and that was 9 minutes ago. Now, it would be a problem if they didn't have access to the internet. Like I brought up Wi-Fi in the very beginning. I don't understand why or how they thought that this very ingenious thing that was invented 25 years ago would not come back and bite them in the ass during their only The only thing they have to do is school right now. That's their only thing. The only thing they have to do is school. Now, any other time, Daddy, I'm watching a YouTube video on Roblox. So, Daddy, I figured out how to do so and so on Fortnite by watching this on YouTube. Daddy, I Googled XYZ and ABC and bullshit, cow manure. What the fuck? And no, my kids don't cuss. I'm just doing it because I'm frustrated. They better not cuss. They'll be teethless. Honestly, they're not adults, so no, not yet. Anyway, I'm not trying to grow my kids up on a YouTube live, but nonetheless, they'll use the internet for entertainment, but not for scholastic. So a conversation, of course, had to be had when I found out that they respectively were not logging into certain classes. I won't get into too many details because it is a work in progress. And yeah, I just don't want to give up all of my parenting tricks. If you want to know something about, how I parent, please, by all means, I plugged the email in the very beginning. I'll plug it again, blackandbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. And you can drop me, any kind of parenting question you like. I don't mind. Shit. I mean, give me a parenting tip. It takes a village. You are the community. I'm just throwing that out there because I'm about to ship them somewhere. And if you decide to email me and give me your physical address, I will make sure that my beloved daughters will make it to that said address. They will work for food. The only caveat that is that they'll also eat you out of house and fucking home. I'm not a little dude, so I didn't produce any little offspring. So yeah, you kind of shit out of fucking luck. I'm just gonna leave that at that. But anyway, back to the lecture at hand. My dear children, we're not logging into respective classes. I found out that it was some of their issue were, connectivity, which a lot of people are experiencing across the country, which I totally understand. There's a lot of people trying to log into a very crowded network at one time. And we can bring that full circle. This is the equivalent of when the internet first started, and it was the difference of a 30-second wait from your dial-up. That's that initial sound that it made when it was trying to connect, and it sounded like nails to a chalkboard or a car accident about to happen. And you would hear that it was a god awful sound coming from your computer. You just really didn't. Oh, Jesus, it's cringeworthy. It's making me cringe now just thinking about it again. Anyway, you have to wait because the network will be so jammed. Everybody's using this dial-out system, to access, web pages and chat rooms, et cetera, et cetera. And we would be doing this for hours. Like, you start the chat room at 1:00, you look up, it's after midnight. You're like, oh shit. And you've been sitting there the whole time. May have gotten up to use the bathroom, may have grabbed something to eat, grabbed something to drink. Back then I wasn't smoking, and this is legal where I am, so please don't send the YouTube police after me or kick in the door with the real police, because where I am it is perfectly legal, both recreationally and medicinally. Yes, I have to give those disclaimers. This is not a G-rated show. So hey, fuck it. I'm being me. It is what it is. Yeah, so I can understand them not being able to get into classes all the time when they're supposed to because of connectivity issues. And to the school's credit, they've tried to space the classes out so it's not so much going on these different servers and this one network all at one time. So the conversations that I had or that are still ongoing was what I said before I got into my spiel, was how did you not think the very thing that you brag about when there's nothing going the fuck on would not come back and tell on you when the time was right. I have an email address. Your school and your teachers and your mother, for crying out loud, have access to said email address. Did you not think or don't think I don't check my email? I have it available on my device. It comes straight here. I get notifications, shit like that. I mean, please, community, help me out. What? I know it's. I'm probably turning into a meme right now. And hey, if that brings light to the podcast, so be it. I did my job. Salute. Any press is good press. I think it's how it goes. No, I don't know. Shit, fuck it. I'm just having fun with it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I mean, yeah, the internet, and 25 years ago, roughly, is when we first experienced this very experience of being across the world and sharing each other's communication instantaneously through a computer over a screen. It's still fucking amazing. It's still growing, still a lot going on. Because in case you don't know or haven't noticed, we do have a podcast that is also, that can be considered internet based as well. Last time I checked, Dre from Brooklyn does not have a communications degree, and I do not have a communications degree. So that's, one of the various degrees that you would have to run some type of radio show or syndicated program or that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, we're growing. I mean, and that's the good thing too, because we also have the opportunity now, more so than then. It was a little different then in terms of, selling items and becoming businesses. The internet started the beginning of, the death of brick and mortar stores as we know it. It has also helped them to a degree too, because now you can do what? Curbside pickup, in-store ordering. Ooh, because you could be on the fly. You could be out and about, and you may need something for the wheels, and you can go right to Best Buy or wherever, Target, for crying out loud, and order for in-store pickup in the direction that you're going. You could be on a road trip, be like, fuck it, I could pick it up in X city, and that's 200 miles down the road. The order takes 4 hours. They say it takes 4 hours to process or 6 hours to process. That's how much time it's going to take me to get to where I'm going. Perfect. It's ideal. Worst case scenario, if you get to that destination after they're closed, it's still going to be in the store. You can still pick it up the next day when they open. You're already going to be where that destination is. See, that's the thing we didn't have then. It was a little different. You had to be under some sort of umbrella or business. I don't know. Yeah, that was not my focus. My focus then were the chat rooms and like sports pages. Well, that hasn't changed. I'm still going to be on sports pages, not so much in chat rooms now because of the advent of social media. And you have more access now, and less anonymity now than you did then, which is something that I brought up. Like I said in the beginning, if you weren't here or you wanted to fast forward and decide to jump ahead, that's fucking fine. I don't care. Like I said in the beginning, I was, 14, 15 years old, and I was everything from a 14 or 15-year-old to a college athlete, a college freshman. I played football at Florida State. I didn't. I wasn't. No. It was all bait. Like, hey, let me throw this line out there. Ooh. And I would be up, 10, 11, 12 hours, and it'd be 6 or 7 different chat bubbles up, talking to all different people from all over the world, all over the country. It's crazy. It was crazy. It was nuts. I mean, and even then, the people, some of those connections around the world may have been bots for crying out loud. But I think it was less bots then than it is now. Because the internet now is more like the Wild Wild West. It's a free for all, which is to a degree okay. It's not okay because misinformation is disseminated a lot faster than the facts at this point. when it comes to the internet, and the fact that we have such instant gratification and instant connection to it, it makes it dangerous. I mean, at one point, when I was just starting becoming a parent, one of the jokes were, "Oh no, my kid will never have a cell phone before they get a job." It's kind of the way of the world. My children have phones. Personally, I don't really like it, but I understand it's a necessity. They need it. I mean, the world's crazy now. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we were, in school, elementary and coming up, there was no fear of the school getting shot up or, a student feeling bullied or pressured or whatever. When we were in school, man, motherfuckers with Joan, that's what we called it in our reason. We call it Joning or snapping or playing the dozens or however you want to call it, so I can break it across regional lines and people can understand, or mama jokes, whatever you want to call it. That's what we used to do, but it would build character. We never felt bullied. If it usually the person that got that upper hand, they would start to feel bad for you and they lay off for you, unless they were really fucking mean and they were trying to go for the kill. That would happen on occasion, but it built character. I mean, because they would come after you later and be like, hey, look, I was just fucking with you. I didn't mean any of that shit or whatever. What I'm saying? I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. We had a little bit of compassion back then. So now, there are a lot of children and youth that have, some mental health issues that may not have been addressed, and it took it to, escalated to the point of violence outwardly. So, I mean, we never thought about, schools getting shot up or bullying like that. Bullying back then for us was a little more physical. It was like pushing you or shoving you in the lockers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Kick me signs on your back, that kind of thing. That would be the form of bullying we would have, or we just, we have roast sessions. We just talk bad about you. That's all. Shit. Some good shit, yo. Shrubs ain't drugs, by the way. So you'll never see me say in the description that it's rated R because of strong language and drug usage. I will never say drug usage. I didn't have to process this in any way. So no chemicals were added at all. I'm just saying. Y'all gotta be careful with that, man. Especially with medicines and that kind of shit. It will fuck with you. It's not made for human consumption for long periods of time. Just throwing that out there. I'm not saying I'm going to live to be 164. No shit like that. Because we know we'll leave that alone. So the evolution of the fucking internet, and my children think they can pull a fast one on this very, very invasive technology that we have. Shit to me is fucking funny because you have to understand it being that I am just young enough to know how this shit works and was at the beginning and infancy of how this technology works. My children don't have the foresight because they are children and they should not have the foresight at this point. If they do, I need to go ahead and turn this shit off and make them do what it is. They'll be the youngest kids at Harvard or some shit. Because that means they're geniuses. I don't know why they didn't think I would be ahead of the game. Like, dropping my email address. Hey, look, you got some issue with my kid or whatever. Hey, drop an email. I'm the parent that still believes in the pop-up. I know it's a little different now because it used to be back in the day, your parent could go to the office, sign in as a visitor, show ID, and be on there and ask where your class is and be on their way to your class and sneak in and sit in the back of the class and you not fucking realize it while you in there cutting up like a jackass. I still believe in pop-ups. I do. It's a necessary thing. And see, and that's the thing. It being my kids won't see this shit. I can say this to you guys. I'm doing a pop-up. Yes, though they're learning virtually, my children don't live with me, so I have to go to them, or they come to me, or we meet in the middle, or whatever. But nonetheless, I'm going to do a virtual pop-up. I'm going to show up at their home where they're supposed to be virtually learning. And I'm going to sit between my two lovely daughters, and we're going to go to school together. I'm going to take my laptop. I'm going to jump onto the internet as well, use the wireless fidelity. I don't have to plug that shit into a phone line and wait for that screeching tire sound to finish, and I be able to log into wherever the fuck I want to go to do whatever it is I need to do. And while this is going on, I will break that lesson down to them, and I will sit in on this class or their classes, and I will let them know, don't fuck with my intelligence. I'm just saying. And of course, you are taking notes with the Bearded Wonder, brought to you by the Black in Business Podcast. The Black in Business Podcast is brought to you by Designer Custom Glasses, The Next Page LLC, and One Empire Mobile Studio. You can reach them by reaching us. Real simple. Get us on Facebook at Black in Business Podcast. In your search bar, we should pop up. You can get us on Instagram, and that's Black_in Business on IG. Or check us out on the website, www.blackinbusinesspodcast.com, or through email, blackinbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. Yes. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I wanted to change the mood. I'm glad that you guys are able to tune in, check us out. We had a few episodes drop this week. We had a couple of them come down. We had a few more recordings. We got a few more coming out. We had some technical difficulties with a few, so we are going to do a redo and get you a drop on that real soon. Hopefully within the next week. We got some more interviews coming up next week. Also, shout out and big ups to all of the parents that are home with their children, trying to homeschool their very own children, also do their own jobs from home, as well as take care of the home. In the instance where there are single parents, or in the instance where one of the parents, the dad or the mom or whoever, actually has to physically go to work now, like their workplaces are open. I have to give y'all a big shout out. Y'all get to see my receded hairline, so I'm tipping the hat to you guys. Big ups for sure. Because that's the generation that's going to make sure we're taken care of as well. And we have to look out for them. They're going through. We have to understand as adults that our children, and this is important. Let me not fuck around. I'm being very serious. I'm closing on a very serious note. It's a nugget, a word to the wise, and hopefully you will consider me wise. So from the wise, we have to understand as adults that our children and the youth in general are going through the same things we're going through. They're experiencing the same kind of anxiety that we're experiencing. The difference is they don't have the ability to communicate that they're going through this kind of anxiety. They're not allowed the opportunity to be with their friends, or those that are going to school, throughout the week, or a few times a week. The schools are practicing social distancing, so they can't dap their boys up. They can't, horseplay, or recess is a little different, or whatever the case may be. As adults and as parents, collectively, we have to understand that our children can't express really, truly how they really feel about this. It's a very unique situation. The fact that we don't have answers for them, the fact that they have access to this information, and in most cases and some cases misinformation at the flip of a thumb, a scan of a face, a type in of a web address. It's something that we have to think about. It's something that we have to understand. It's something that we have to know, that as parents, to protect our children and to be a positive force and voice in their lives, is to understand how they're feeling at any given time. I'm going to leave it on that note. Hopefully, thankfully, I get to see you guys again very soon. In the words of the great Joel Santana, one of my favorite rappers, I guess, I don't know, he was actually one of my favorite rappers at one point. Don't watch me, watch TV. It's your boy, the Bearded Wonder. Been real, it's been trill. Peace.
That boy, strong, who got it going on? You're dead wrong. The weak of the strong, who got it going on? You're dead wrong. Relax and take notes while I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Throw you in a choke, gun smoke, gun smoke. Biggie Smalls for mayor, the rap slayer, the hooker layer.